So I finally got around to playing Dead Space, and this is a game I've always known about as a kid, but I just never played it. And so with the remake that came out like a year ago, I still put it off. As you can see, it's a year later. But, they had it on PlayStation Plus, so I tried it out. And man, was I asleep. For me personally, this is the type of horror game I love to play. Just something that keeps you enthralled the whole time, but it also scares you the whole time. As I was playing through this game, I kept always coming back thinking like, dang, this is a real horror experience. The atmosphere in this game was amazing. It's to the point where after I finished the game and I was like looking up stuff about it, I found out they had this engine in it called the Intensity Director, where it just like, it's the game itself throwing jump scares at you. Like half of this stuff that you see, not even planned out. And I find that so cool that it felt like an actual genuine horror experience because you can't actually plan for anything, And because of that, I'm about to dive into the story. So if you have not played Dead Space, I highly recommend you go play this new remake. Like, you won't be disappointed if you're a horror fan. It's so much fun. It's got action. It's got mystery. It's got scares. Like, I don't know what more you could want from a piece of media. But with that out of the way, like I said, get gone, go play the game, and then come back here. But to talk about the story, as someone who, like I said, never played the original, the story I actually really mess with too, surprisingly. Because one of the reasons I'm a fan of horror is just the interesting storytelling you can do. And it's really hard to get it down. Because at one point, you could have too many jump scares and it starts taking away from the story. You can tell whoever created it was really just trying to amp up the fear factor, but it's really just like diminishing the story along the way. Or you got some pieces that are just so story heavy, it doesn't even feel like horror anymore. But this Dead Space, it did its thing with this one, because the story, you start off as the main character, Isaac Clarke. You're with your crew, and you end up on the Ishimura because you're like ship's malfunctioning and whatnot. And y'all get on the ship, y'all explore it, and y'all see that it's run down. Something's happened here, and that's when your team gets attacked. And that's where the story really begins, because now you're just surrounded and you don't know where to go on this dark, desolate ship. But as you get deeper into the story, you kind of start piecing together what's going on the ship and what happened on the ship, to where there's now all these aliens attacking you. Halfway through the story, you find out there is an actual alien device called the Marker on the ship, which is infecting people with these hallucinations to the point where they're transforming into these monsters called necromorphs. And so now your job is to just try to find a way off the ship, essentially. If we're being honest, it's not Isaac Clarke's business, really. But he's also there on his own personal mission because he wants to find his girl, Nicole, who happened to be an actual, psychiatrist or doctor on the ship. And her job was to help rehabilitate these cult followers of this religion called the Church of Unitology, I think it was called, if I remember correctly. And so, yeah, Isaac's there to pretty much retrieve her and get out off the ship. And towards the end of the game, you actually find out, this marker isn't really an alien object. It's actually something human-made on Earth when the humans were trying to reverse engineer, alien technology. But they found out they couldn't actually do anything with it because it was just too powerful. And now they were trying to bury this object again to just get rid of it on this outer planet called Aegis 7. And what's really interesting is throughout the whole thing, and one of the big plot twists of the game is that throughout your time on the ship, you've actually been affected by the Marker 2. And you find out that, number one of the people that you came to the ship with, she actually betrayed you, and she's actually a double agent for the people who made the Marker. So now her job there is to retrieve the marker so they can bury it again and sweep everything under the rug. And the second big reveal was that Isaac's girl, Nicole, she's actually been dead this whole time. She actually offed herself because she didn't want to transform into a monster. And the marker actually ends up creating these hallucinations of Nicole that Isaac sees, and that's what ends up tricking him to bring the marker back to the planet and actually activating the final boss, which is called the Leviathan, which is just like a huge necromorph. That's what made the game so interesting, because you could see and you could kind of tell that there was a twist coming. The whole twist with your crewmate Kendra being a double agent, that one caught me by surprise. With the whole Nicole, the Nicole plot twist, that one I feel like you could see coming from a mile away, but it was still done in a way that you can't be mad at it. You just can't be mad at it. It was good. And so this is definitely now one of my favorite horror games, because just the care, the atmosphere, you can just feel it all put into this game. And it doesn't feel like lately like a lot of games which are just cash grabs. This feels like someone was a fan of the previous game, the original, and decided to do it justice. And so now I'm even going to go back and grab the platinum trophy for this game when I can, because I heard even in the second playthrough they still give you even more content. There's actually like an alternate ending once you complete the game on New Game Plus. So I'm looking forward to seeing that one, because I haven't even finished that. I'd rate this game a 9 out of 10 because this game is just great. There's a lot of replayability because of that intensity director. So it doesn't, the first playthrough is definitely not going to feel like the second playthrough, just because of the enemies that they throw at you is all like random events. Now I'm just going to keep an eye out for horror games like this. I might even go back and play Dead Space 2 and 3 like on the PS3 or something, man. I know that's going to be a time. I can't wait.